Nato,
Sorry.
that's okay. We have Gregory Nato, Adam Pollock, Michael Kelly, Christina Amato, Marlon Ramos, and myself, Nancy Thomas, present.
And we're just missing Chairman Austin DuBois, who should be appearing shortly.
Right. Do we want to go ahead and look at the minutes and look for an approval for last meeting?
So I'll help you out here since I have the agenda in front of me. The meeting was duly noted. The notice of meeting, proof of notice of meeting was circulated to the board. You also received minutes for the May 10th and the 2 May 17th meetings. We had 2 meetings on the 17th. One was a special emergency meeting and one was a regular board meeting. And on the 10th was also a special meeting. If there would be a motion to approve.
Can we have a motion to approve? Let's start with one of them. Let's start with the May 10th meeting.
Make the motion to approve the May 10th meeting. Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
abstentions? Okay. Then let's go to the special meetings. We had one on the 17th, I believe. I was not there. So we had a special meeting on the 17th, right? And we have a motion to approve.
I move to approve the meeting from the 17th, the minutes from the meeting on the 17th.
And a second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
I was not either, so I am abstaining as well. All right, and did we have another special one to share that I wasn't?
The 10th was the special one, but the 17th
Okay.
had a special and it had a regular board. So now you're
Right.
just approving the minutes for the regular board meeting.
Okay. Have we had a chance to review those for the 17th? Anyone willing to make a motion to accept?
Yeah, I'll move to approve those minutes.
Okay.
17th.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? All right. All right, Sherry, you've got the agenda in front of us. Usually we go through and do the financials at this point.
Yep.
Okay,
So Marlon, you're up. Report of the treasurer. You're muted.
Aye.
you're
Right.
muted, Marlon. There you go.
Right. Traveling between the two screens. Everybody, sorry about that. Okay. All right, so we have an opening balance of 278,869 with 11 cents. We had for the month of June, we had 4 deposits totaling 12,416 with 89 cents. Checks paid out, we had a total amount of 5,645 with 51 cents. That means that we closed the month at 285,640 with 49 cents. The application funds, the tenant account stayed the same respectively, and then the money market account went from 750,147.83 cents, increased by 121 with 4 cents to 750,268 with 87 cents. And that is the report.
And do we have checks to pay out this week or this month? Nothing pending?
That's all of the checks that we have so far.
All right. so we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a
Move to approve
motion
the
to approve.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll
Mike.
second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and any abstentions? Sherry, you're muted.
I see people do that all the time, and I'm like, don't they know? And then I'm the one doing it. Sorry. That was for the treasurer's report, and then we'll need another one for just the payment of the bills for June. So the first one was the approval of the treasurer's report, and now we're going towards the payment of the bills for June 2021.
Okay,
I'll move to approve the payment of the bills.
I second.
Great. Since Nancy doesn't have the agenda in front of her, the next thing up is the chairman's report.
Was there a vote on the
We
payment?
have to vote on the bills. right?
oh, we
Oh,
haven't
sorry.
voted on it yet.
Sorry,
That's right. Okay, so we need a motion and we need approval.
We have the motion and the approval. We just need to vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, Sherry?
Now the chairman's report, who's not here. And then after that, I mean, if Austin comes back and wants to report on something, we can go back to that. But now we have council's report.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Bob McLaughlin, Katie Kemp is here as well.
Aye.
Always good to see you guys. Hopefully next month in person or the next time we meet in person. Because the governor's executive order does expire on July 5th. So we'll see if it's extended, but probably not. I did want to report to you on a couple of things. First, on 5 Scobie Drive, I did reach out to the Buyers Council today just to confirm, and both of their councils, their local council here in Albany, as well as Dominic Codera down in Newburgh, or in the Newburgh area, sorry. They confirmed that they are still waiting for DEC's approval on their PFAS regulations and determination of what exactly needs to happen with the review of contamination at this site. The board should consider perhaps an executive session to discuss this contract at some point in the future, but not tonight. Second thing I wanted to alert you is a change in the statute. Share did include in your Dropbox Assembly Bill number 795, which is an attempt to prevent forum shopping within the county of Orange, so that all local IDAs, and there's a handful in Orange County, must default to the fees that are being charged by the county IDA. The county IDA's current fees are dramatically higher than what this IDA currently charges. You do have 90 days after the bill is signed by the governor before this bill becomes effective. But I think what Cher did the other day was sent each board member a link to the Orange County fees. The Orange County fees do include a local examiner consultant for a local labor policy, which this IDA has not adopted yet, but has been adopted in many IDAs around the state, including most in Orange County. So that may be something that we want to chat about at some meeting in the future. But I would encourage you to look at the fees that are charged by Orange County. This bill doesn't leave this board any choice but to adopt those fees. They are dramatically higher than what you currently charge. There were some other minor changes in the statute as the legislature wrapped up last week. So far, that in our review, none of them really apply to the Newburgh IDA. But we'll update you by the end of the month and do a little client alert, letting you know what the changes are. Any questions on that? Okay. The only other part, the one resolution that I would like to the board to consider tonight is the resolution for the St. Luke's reissuance of bonds. We've talked about that at a couple of meetings. They are changing the interest rate and the default mechanism, the default rate for the bonds that were issued by the IDA in 2005. These bonds were remarketed in 2010 based on a change in law as a result of the financial crisis. And KeyBank became the holder of the bonds at that point. As we may have talked about, I think we talked about, and certainly these resolutions talk about the fact that St. Luke's and the parking garage experienced financial issues. There was a default in the master financing arrangement that KeyBank and other lenders, including HSBC, have with the hospital. There was a forbearance agreement entered into that was also defaulted on. And hi there, Chair.
Hi, guys. Sorry.
So, Austin, we're just talking about the St. Luke's resolution. Last year, the bank group and the hospital and the parking garage had agreed on a workout and a payoff of the bonds. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, sufficient monies were not available, and they have been sitting on the sidelines for a year trying to figure out what the next steps are. The next step is a second forbearance agreement that would extend out the actual interest rate and pay some fees up front to the bank group, as well as change the default rate, the default determination of the rate from what's called a LIBOR or a London Internet overnight bank rate, to a new SOFI rate, which all bonds are moving toward. What unfortunately for your bonds for the hospital and the parking garage, because of the change that is occurring, and it's over $10 million, these are called bank qualified bonds under the Internal Revenue Code, that any change that pays a fee to the lenders, which is what they're proposing here, will require not only an amendment to your issuing documents, which are called the indenture and the loan agreement and the lease agreement, but also a reissuance of the bonds. So in many respects, you can think of this as a brand new bond issuance, but under the existing terms, we're not extending the term, we're just issuing new bonds under these new provisions for your borrower, which in this case is the parking garage, the community development properties at DuBois Street 2 Inc., which is affiliated with the hospital. These bonds are also guaranteed by St. Luke's through a make-well agreement, so that if there's a default, St. Luke's steps into the shoes and pays the bonds. The bonds are not debt, not a debt of the IDA. You're merely a conduit issuer. You're providing a tax-exempt bonds to the borrower, so that they have a little bit better interest rate. If there's a default, it's no reflection on the IDA. If defaults, the trustee then would step into the shoes of the IDA under the indenture, and they would go and foreclose, presumably on the parking garage, and take over the operation and collection of rents at the parking garage. You have two resolutions for St. Luke's. One is a seeker resolution. This is an unlisted action. It's a refinancing, so there's no impact on the environment. The second resolution is authorizing the execution and delivery of certain amendment documents, and then appointing us as bond counsel to conclude the closing. The The closing is a little uncertain at this point. There are 3 different bonds that are actually being reissued at this time. There's a 2001 bonds that are away from you that have to do with HSBC. There are 2006 bonds of the Orange County IDA that actually were approved for reissuance last week at the Orange County IDA's meeting on Monday night. We have asked for copies of those resolutions, and I'm sure they will be forthcoming. There is a master trustee for the 2001 bonds, which is M&T Bank, which is also the trustee for both the 2005 and the 2006 Orange County IDA bonds. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and there's a lot of attorneys involved as most of these deals happen. We may close the reissuance of the Newburgh IDA bonds within a matter of weeks, and then again, we may close the Newburgh IDA bonds within a matter of months. We're really, I guess, the tail of the dog. We really are at the working group, the larger working group's request, and we will be reaching out to Bank Council, as well as St. Luke's Council and the Parking Garage Council tomorrow morning if these resolutions are approved tonight, to get a better idea of the timing, and then we'll report back to the board at the next meeting. The amendments are fairly simple and straightforward, where we would be amending an indenture, amendment to a loan agreement, a lease agreement, and then confirming the existing obligations of both the borrower and the guarantor, St. Luke's Hospital, on the guarantee, or what's called the make well agreement. Any questions on the St. Luke's matter? So if everyone is okay, I'd like the board to consider a motion to approve the seeker resolution on the reissuance of the agency's variable rate demand civic facility revenue bonds for the Community Development Properties Project Series 2005A.
I will make a motion for those terms.
I would
I'll
second.
second. Yeah, you win.
And then, Cher, we do need a roll call on that one.
This is for the resolution that ends in 21-01.
The seeker resolution, right?
Yes, okay. Let me just get my notes about me. Sorry, who was first again?
Chrissy, and then Nancy was second. Sorry about that. I stepped on your toes there.
No, not a problem. I just was trying to get it all together. All right, for a roll call, Austin DuBois,
Abstain.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Marlon Ramos,
Aye.
Christina Amato,
Aye.
Michael Kelly,
Yes.
Adam Pollock,
Yes.
Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Thank you. And now the second resolution is a resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of certain documents with respect to the issuers, in this case, the agency's variable rate demand civic facility revenue bonds, the Community Development Properties Project, Series 2005A.
I'll move to approve the issuance of those documents Bob mentioned.
Thank you. And a
I'll
second?
second.
Who was second?
Marlon?
Marlon?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll do a roll call. Austin DuBois,
Abstain.
Nancy Thomas,
Yes.
Marlon Ramos,
Yes.
Christina Amato,
Yes.
Michael Kelly,
Yes.
Adam Pollock,
Yes.
Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Thank you all. I'll report back the progress on this at the next meeting, and if there's any issues that crop up, I'll certainly let the board know. Thank you. And that's the end of my report.
All right, I guess I'll jump in now. I don't really have anything exciting for the chairman's report. I mean, you all got the email that Sheriff forwarded about the bargains that happened with the county IDA that we've been following. And that is what it is. You know, we all know the situation there, and luckily people were held responsible for lacking integrity and being corrupt, which is not something that any of us certainly want to tolerate. So that's that. Beyond that, let's go to new business and introduce Sims Foster here. I think everybody is, if they're not already, I'm positive you guys are aware of the Grand Street the Grand Street project. The 3 historic buildings on Grand Street that are now under contract between the county and Foster Supply Hospitality to do a very exciting development there, boutique hotel, resort, spa, etc. I'll obviously let Sims really give you the details. It's his project, but he is in the process of preparing an application for us and wanted to come before us and introduce himself and give us an idea of what he's got going on. So Sims, welcome. Nice to see you see your face, not just on the phone.
Agree. I just shared the screen. Does everyone see?
Yep.
Yes.
I get big points from my wife now on that one. So
Your wife, Kirsten, apparently.
my wife, Kirsten, who's also very good at tech, and I think I can. So we can just go. Hi, thank you, everyone. I know that I have about 15 minutes. And so I'm going to start my clock to kind of hold myself to that. And then, of course, we'll have any other questions. So Kirsten and I are founders and principals of Foster Supply Hospitality. That's our, that's it. Just a quick background on where we are, who we are. We're a mission-based hotel and hospitality company. We have 3 principles that we focus on for all decision-making. Is it right by our people? Are we taking care of our community around us? And are we taking care of the all-important guests that are coming to see us? We believe in a lot of things, but we really, of this slide, we believe we have the responsibility and privilege to affect change around us, which really strikes home with the Newburgh project. First hotel was the Arnold House 7 years ago. We then did the North Branch Inn the year after. 9 River Road is our smallest hotel, 8 rooms in Callicoon, New York. All these hotels, I should say, are in Western Sullivan County, where I grew up and where my family has been for over 100 years. The De Bruce, our 4th hotel, won number 6 best new restaurant in America in 2018, as well as one of the Condé Nast List Hot 100, one of the best new hotels in the world the same year. Canosa Hall, we opened last year and has 22 rooms and is our most extensive property. It has a full-scale spa called Hemlock. So we are in the spa, restaurant, and hotel business already. And then just 10 days ago, we opened this bright beacon, Hotel Darby. It's actually in Pennsylvania, right across the river from Narrowsburg, New York. So we are now in 2 states, barely by about 100 feet. But we just opened that as a 27-key hotel in what was a former abandoned nursing home. They've been sitting there for a decade and that we helped revive. Here I am for what that's worth. We also have 2 standalone restaurants, The Cabin and Piccolo Paese. I think key to this slide is that while I grew up in Sullivan County and I'm extremely proud, and that will always be home, I did spend about 20 years in hospitality and have opened hotels in major urban areas. So what we have now is very rural, but my experience prior to that was opening in Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco, DC, Miami, Cabo, all kinds of places. And then I think I lost Kirsten's slide somehow. That's terrible.
We won't tell her.
Yeah, no.
I saw it.
It'll get back to it. Kirsten has a master's degree in economics and spent about 15 years at the New York Federal Reserve Bank. I'm sure I always get that wrong, as a policy expert. And somehow I got her to jump into hospitality. So it might be the only thing that we would question about Kirsten's background, but she handles all our design, procurement, is fastidious with systems. And so we run the company together. Slide 15, we're a growing company. As we continue to grow with the hotel every year, our revenue goes up. This year we're expected to be, depending, who knows with this year, but we're somewhere around $10 million in total revenue as a company. This shows the timeline of one a year as we've been doing it, as we've grown. It's only been 7 years since we opened the Arnold House, as we've taken on more and more. I think also key, one of the slides that was missing is that it's not just Kirsten and I built a very strong team with a CFO, a chief revenue officer, chief development officer, director of ops for rooms, the director of restaurants. And even though we're only 7 years in existence, they all have been with us for up to 6 of those years. So we're very proud of the team, and that's how we've been able to continue to grow and while we're looking at other opportunities. This slide shows the kind of range from kind of campy casual to luxury, how we've positioned our hotels. So Darby, the newest one, is kind of at the lower ADR rate. Canosa is the highest. We would expect Newburgh to sit probably somewhere right in the middle of this scale. If anything, lean more towards luxury, but probably embrace both. We have long-term relationship partners with branding and creative, and our PR firm, The Door, out of New York City. One of my very good friends formed that company. They do all of our PR and are exceptional at helping us amplify our story and message as we continue to grow. This is just one slide. We could put 20 on here. We've been in every major publication in the last 7 years, most of them multiple times. We've been called a media darling before. That's good as you talk about telling the story of Newburgh, telling it properly. We feel very confident we'll be able to really tell a proper story. The Bruce, we already talked about, it's award-winning. Project overview, interestingly enough, I don't have, this usually is where I have to slow down and tell people a lot about Newburgh. It's good to have an audience that can educate me more on Newburgh than me on them. So the project overview, we are somewhere around 80 rooms, 150 seat restaurant. We are looking actively putting a rooftop bar in, and also some other small cocktail bars. The event space in the lodge, for those of you who might have been in there on the 2nd and 3rd floors, will be substantial, and also a full-scale spa in the basement of the YMCA, where the pool used to be in the Y. That's the high-level program where we're looking at average ADR of stabilizing somewhere in the 350, hoping to exceed a 55-60% occupancy, but that's what we've underwritten for this project. I think everyone should know where the buildings are. Grand Street, right before Broadway. They were bought by the county, I think 7 or 8 years ago, with the idea of the college expanding into them. And that did not happen. So the county RFP'd now about a year ago. And so clearly we've won that. And as Austin said, we are officially in contract on these buildings. The vision, I could spend a lot of time on, but I won't. But these 3 buildings, while they've always served unique purposes for the city of Newburgh, they've always served their community, and they naturally fit together in my mind about all as a hospitality venue. So it's really combining them, if not physically, spiritually, into one project that has many different attractions to outside guests and also to local residents of Newburgh. Why Newburgh? We're very drawn to Newburgh for all the reasons that all of you are. Its history, its beauty, and its potential. We tend to gravitate towards places where we can do what we believe would be the most or the best work for what we do. It's not just about building a hotel and restaurant. It's about being part of our community and helping it move forward. And we feel that Newburgh really resonates with us in that way. We also think that there's so many people doing positive things, helping to get Newburgh into a new chapter. And we just want to bolt on to that and do our part to keep putting, fuel on that fire. Masonic Temple, again, ground floor restaurant, second, third floor, event space, fourth floor, cocktail bar, hopefully rooftop, stunning rooftop bar and event, and also, meeting space. And there was a bowling alley in the basement where the Masons used to bowl after whatever else they did. And so we're hoping to possibly put that back in. That's what that all says. The YMCA building will be the main entrance to the hotel. Front desk, public space, perhaps, small retail store. And then the rest of the floors would constitute hopefully around 48 rooms. And the basement, as we discussed before, would be a full-scale spa, treatment rooms, sauna, steam, kind of typical spa layout. And then the American Legion space is the quietest of the buildings, the little one, and that will just be rooms. We're hoping to get to about 32 rooms. Right now we're somewhere in the 28, 29, so we're trying to maximize keys for revenue. Timeline, we've begun the permitting, the zoning's already been changed, we've begun the permitting. We're hoping to get through that in 2021 and potentially even start demolition this year with a full-scale start on construction in January of 2022 with a, call it 14 to 16 month total timeline. We would hope to be open in spring, early summer of 2023. And we are working towards that timeline. Key project strengths. The first one is strength and also could be, a challenge, but first mover in an emerging market. We believe we're uniquely qualified to help create the story, and we like being first movers. These buildings speak for themselves with their historic and nature. The lodge is absolutely stunning, and so there's a lot of value in the buildings and telling their stories, and also as we bring them into the next chapter. All our hotels are pretty much in the middle of nowhere currently, and we've done a good job of telling the middle of nowhere story. It's going to be nice to tell the story of International Airport, 60 miles, train, and a wonderful city. So proximity to key markets is also a strength. Diversified revenue streams. As I just explained, this is not just one thing of a hotel or a restaurant. By being able to have multiple parts of a hospitality venue. Yeah. Did I lose you? No. We believe that this, is a strength to have multiple things happening. We've talked about our supply marketing, our marketing and branding, and we also talked about, doing the best that we can for the community around us. Challenges, why we're in front of you, the City of Newburgh tax structure and impact on cash flow. We're entering a very high tax area, as you of course well know, and that's a challenge. The city's reputation historically has been, if people aren't intimate with Newburgh and that it is emerging and has so much positive potential, it is a challenge to try to get outside investment when they Google and see things that, are questionable, if not, irrelevant at this point or part of it as well. And this is a close to $25 million project. So the scope of the project and investment is a challenge as far as being in Newburgh. It wouldn't be in other markets, but it's a large number to be looking at putting in Newburgh right now. The narrative, we can skip. You guys know the narrative of Newburgh, but we think there's just amazing things happening there. We've done a full competitive landscape. While there's not hotels in Newburgh, we're really happy to see high ADR comp set within the Hudson Valley. So it's while micro geography, we would be kind of first in the larger area. We're seeing, you know, quality lodging venues and restaurants and spas that are able to charge good ADRs. And here's a bunch of them. So we've done our comp set analysis. The project is right now $24,357,000. We're looking at a mixture of debt and equity. We are putting in some of our own money and also talking to other people about making up the equity gap. We do have a strong interest from Rhinebeck Bank, but not a commitment letter. There's a number of things that they've said they're, you know, premature to issue that. One of them is talking to this IDA. So that's what we're doing and what we intended to do. So we feel very good about what we're hearing from them, but they just wanted to see a couple more things before a commitment letter was issued. Our ramp starts, you know, in first year, really we hope a successful ramp would get us to about doubling of the revenues within 5 years, but leading to slide number 47, which I think I've stayed close to my time. Ramps in hospitality can go quickly, they can go slowly. It takes time to build, it takes time to sell, it takes time to book weddings that are years out. Hospitality doesn't just turn the switch on right away. You know, we're very excited about this project. We're here to ask for help, and you know, there's some vulnerability to this project. We don't ask lightly. We generally like to take things on ourselves and find solutions. And one of the solutions to do this project really is to seek some help with a pilot program through this IDA. It's been that way from the very beginning, and so we're happy to be finally talking to this board. As Austin said, we'll have our application in. We wanted to make sure the application was thorough and correct, and the cost benefit analysis was done professionally. So rather than rush it and get it to you on last Friday, we wanted to take another week or so and make sure it's exactly right. We're asking, you know, we're asking for consideration for a 15-year tax schedule where, you know, the first 5 years, the taxes would stay at what the current assessed value would be. I think it's also important to note that right now these buildings are not on the tax roll. In their 300 years of total existence, which actually it comes out to that exactly based on when they were built in this year, they were on the tax roll for 27 of the 300 combined existence. So we're looking to get them on the tax roll, and they will be assessed about double than what we're paying. So we're already, you know, yes. So that's what we've been told, is they'll be assessed somewhere in the mid 2 millions. So that's what we're looking for with an escalation in year 6 and beyond at a 10% increase so that we could get to where we want to be, which is we want to be paying full taxes, but we need some help getting there. And I think kind of lastly is it doesn't do us or the community or anybody any good to go through this and get open and then be in financial strains where we can't be there for another generation. Our goal is long-term. We're owner operators, and we're committed to this. And we really just want to work hard and succeed, and ask for a little bit of help in timing to get to where we need to. And that is it. I think, did I make it, Chair? No, I'm 2 minutes over. I'm sorry.
I think we can forgive you for that. Thank you very much, Sims. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Look, it's an extremely exciting project, and we really look forward to the application. And I don't think I'm exceeding bounds entirely by sharing with the board that Since I do business with Rhinebeck Bank, a couple of those guys have my cell phone, and one of the ones that Sims is dealing with did call me to ask. He said, look, we're looking into this project and we're excited about it, but the tax situation has us a little bit skittish. So we want to understand kind of more what the IDA does and how the IDA can help that. So it really is a sort of dead center sort of situation. The reason the IDAs exist is to enable projects to get off the ground, to get the financing they need to actually be complete. Anybody that wants to talk about what a great project this is going to be, they're absolutely right, but it's not going to be a project unless the financing happens to make it happen. The financing happens to complete the project. So, we're going to get a completed application sooner than later. And it may be the case that, assistance is appropriate to make sure that we can get the financing, that the project can happen. We can get these buildings on the tax rolls, and we can employ 80, 100 plus, whatever it ends up being, people in Newburgh,
It's a really beautiful model. I think it's super exciting. And like Austin said, it can almost make us giddy that we're helping to bring buildings, like you said, that have not been on the tax roll back to the tax rolls, and to provide, that kind of jobs and quality to the city. It's very exciting.
And aesthetically, it's nice that those buildings are going to repurpose in a way that a broader population will get to see them, as opposed to turning it into, university building that only students will get to see. So it's very exciting that it's going to be appreciated by all the visitors who come to Newburgh and get to see it.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions or anything from the presentation? It was pretty thorough already, but.
I do have one question. Are any of the other, I don't even know in Sullivan what kind of IDAs they have. Have you applied for any IDAs before? Or any pilots before, rather?
Yeah, so the short answer is we have not. Much to the dismay of our counsel, Walter Grigliano, who's the counsel for the Sullivan County IDA. And I don't know if Walter's on or not, but we looked at it, and those projects, we felt that we could do it and without the assistance. So I hope that only adds kind of the weight to why we're in front of this board right now. This is not about seeing how much we can get. This is about making this project viable, and it's very difficult to look at the math on day one of paying full taxes while you're ramping a hotel and restaurant business and paying full boat out the door. So we're familiar with IDA. We have not used it for any of our current projects.
And I sort of echo that sentiment. I think it's nice, not that you haven't got another IDA, but that you guys are really invested in the communities and doing what you can. I think your ask is reasonable, and many of us definitely understand the tax conundrum here in Newburgh, and are happy to put you guys on the plan for our future 5 to 7 year path to getting to a positive tax place. So much appreciated.
Well, we appreciate that sentiment as well. I will note that we have a project in Liberty, New York, which is, I think, perhaps maybe one of the few worst tax districts in the city of Newburgh. So we probably will need to look. We're looking at that as well. So it's really just assessing, the viability of the project and what we need.
Well, listen, it's good to hear that you think of it that way, because there's a lot of misconceptions on both sides of the aisle about IDAs. Some people think it's just like something that anybody should use all the time, no matter what. And some people think it's there to, give people breaks that don't need it. But as we know, sitting here, it's a tool to fix a certain issue, which is that when you have a project that is riskier, that is larger scale than basically anything Newburgh has seen for decades, that really could benefit the community as much as this one looks like it's going to. It's a tool that we have at our disposal by state law to be able to help you do that, because ultimately the idea is your project is going to really, really critically help this city. So we appreciate that.
And you hit it on the head. We can't do this project without financing. We're unable to self-finance this project. And getting financing, this is a critical part of getting financing. It becomes very, very, very difficult to get financing without some assistance.
Exactly. Does anybody else have anything else? Or can we let Sims go have dinner? All right. Thank you very much again, Sims, for coming on. We look forward to getting your application. I'm probably not also being too presumptuous in saying that we'll probably, even though we're not scheduled, we don't have a regularly scheduled meeting until September now. I'm positive we're going to do a special meeting over the next several weeks, next month, something like that. So we'll be in touch, right?
Well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate that in advance as well over the summer. So thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. All right, we got. I think I closed my agenda, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a motion to go into executive session to discuss. I know definitely one of them is matters that could lead to litigation, also disposition of real property. Thank you, Mike.
Second that.
Do we second? Thank you, Nancy. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carried.
That we come out of executive session.
Thank you, Nancy. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Gregory. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstaining, motion carried. We're hereby out of executive session. Only discussion was had, no decisions were made. I closed my browser to try to improve my connectivity. So I have whatever next on the agenda. Somebody can tell me.
I think we didn't cover the executive director's report and then
Bob, you're back in,
Okay.
everybody's out of the waiting room in the meeting.
Well, for my report, I would just say that the city redid their website, and very frustrating, but removes my ability to change anything. So I have to be given permission and training to change the website. So I don't know if the board ever wants to discuss the future being independent again, as far as the website is concerned. But all the links don't work anymore, pretty much. So if you, Adam
it's very
mentioned,
hard to find.
yeah, if Adam mentioned today something he was trying to find, he couldn't find. If as this time goes on, if you become aware, I don't know, I would say like within the next 2 weeks of things not working, feel free to let me know. That and just regarding the sidewalk for Gemma, just working on getting quotes from engineers to do the report. And it's just we know we're out of executive session. Just working on getting quotes for the engineer to do the report, to then get the contractor to do the work. And that just is taking a little bit of time. I'll leave it as simply as that. And I do think that the Audit Finance Committee should meet to discuss changes to the procurement policy that were suggested. And perhaps we can schedule that soon. And then I'll leave it up to Austin to discuss any potential special meetings or anything like that for the during the summer. But basically, I was talking with Bob. If the board sees fit that there's a special meeting that has to be had after July 5th, it has to be in person. So If you all find for some reason a special meeting like last week, I'm sorry, next week is your last week. Other than that, for any small thing, just be prepared to meet in person.
Yeah, as of now, the emergency disaster declaration expires on July 5th. Given the positivity low rate and that everything has been reopened, I doubt that those executive orders will be extended again. But I guess we'll see. But I think we have to assume that after July 5th, we're back in person. Which actually be very nice to see you guys in person for a change.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get back to normal a little bit.
Can we bring our dogs?
You don't want me to bring my dog.
The cats, Chrissy, you're welcome.
Thank you. You don't want my whole zoo. I'll selectively bring one or two.
All right, so we're gonna move on now to old business. We have some resolutions for 104 Washington Street. Bob, I don't have the resolutions right in front of me, so you just want to read what, or if Cher or whoever read the number. We'll start with the seeker resolution.
I think we're going to wait on them right now,
We're
right?
gonna wait on all of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have further discussion between Bob and Cher and potentially myself and the 104 Washington. How about for Foundry? Are we gonna do the first couple and then talk, have the approving one be negotiated with
I'm sorry, say that again.
Are we waiting on all of the Foundry resolutions, or can we do at least the first two?
I think we should wait on all,
I do
All right.
too.
because they all kind of go together.
Yep.
And we've talked about maybe having a special meeting for another project, so we can hopefully at that point maybe consider them then.
Okay. Then I think we're ready for adjournment. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
I guess that's my job. I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Nancy. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second. Oh,
I think that was Chrissy, right?
whoever else wants to take it, they can take it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion carried. Everybody have a good evening.
Nice to see everyone on
You
on
too.
Zoom. Maybe we'll see you in person.
Yeah, next time
Yeah.
in person, because I'm pretty sure we're not doing a special meeting before next week.
Yeah, if you can go out to dinner, you can go to a real meeting.
Yeah.